Hello and welcome to a new episode of our weekly program In the Hot Seat. Today we have a very significant guest who is going to shed more light on the current economic status of Egypt and boosting the Egyptian economy and how we can support the small and medium-sized industries in Egypt. And we're going to be very delighted to have all his opinion and his analysis on the economic status of Egypt. Very much delighted to have joining us this evening on this exclusive interview Dr. Fakhri Al-Fiqi. He's a former Assistant Executive Director at the IMF and he is also Professor of Economics at Cairo University. Thank you very much, Doctor. Let us first start by talking about how do you evaluate the current economic status in Egypt?
Well, currently the Egyptian economy is doing better than before. Since the 25th revolution, 2011, the Egyptian economy faced a lot of difficulties on the first 3 years after the revolution, specifically 2011, 12, 13, until we have June 30 revolution. Then the Egyptian economy start to be on the right track, especially on 2014. Since 2014, and we have a new president, elected president, a new government, Engineer Mahleb government, and they start to look into the future of Egypt and to try to face those difficulties, fundamental difficulties. Currently, the Egyptian economy, if we talk about economic growth, Egyptian economy is growing at 4%. That was last year, compared to 2% average. We expect this year, this fiscal year 15, 16, it will finish, it will end by almost 6 months, from now. The Egyptian economy expected to grow at 5%. This is with respect to the economic growth. Also, if we look at how the Egyptian economy has the capacity to generate employment opportunities and jobs, the Egyptian economy is start to generate enough employment opportunities for the Egyptians. To the extent unemployment rate went down from 13.5% from our labor force down to 12.5%. It's 1% down. In my view, still the unemployment rate is high, relatively high, and we have to do more about, the unemployment and generate more employment opportunities. With respect to the inflation rate, still the inflation rate is a problem to the Egyptian economy. In the last 5 years, average 10% inflation rate. So the Egyptian government, current Egyptian government, Engineer Sharif Ismail, the new government, they are struggling with the inflation rate because inflation rate is represent a major difficulty, especially for poor people. They suffer a lot from high inflation rate. So if inflation rate annually average at 10%, that's too much for the Egyptian. That means within the last 5 years, Egyptian economy, people suffers a 50% higher prices. So current government, they try to do a lot about, supplying more food, basic foods, and also other services at, reasonable prices. So we have the army, we have the security forces, and in addition to the Ministry of Supply of the current government, they try to, use and utilize the outlets everywhere in Egypt in order to supply, those basic foods and services to the people at reasonable prices. But this is a temporary one. However, they have to do more about this, the inflation rate. With respect to the balance of payment and foreign reserve, currently, the central bank, after having a new governor of the Central Bank of Egypt, Mr. Tariq Amir, he's doing, say, he's trying to do his best in order to stabilize the exchange rate of the Egyptian pound in the between the official market and the parallel market, or the black market in this case.
You've mentioned a lot of vital points, but let me go back a little bit to what you've spoken about a few moments ago. When you said that how the Egyptian economy, was down after the January Revolution, went up again after the 30th and so forth. This makes me wonder and want to ask you, on what scale or basis do you measure the development or success of any economy in a country? Because during Mubarak's era, for instance, there have been a very low GDP, and we still had a lot of unemployment problems, and basically maybe that's what triggered the revolution as a first cause, the poor economy and the struggling of the people. What basis and scale, as an expert, do you measure the success of any country's economy? I mean, what comes first? How do you prioritize it?
Well, very important point for any economic policy maker is to focus more on raising the standard of living for majority of the people. In the case of Egypt here, we have, during Mubarak regime, we have a high rate of economic growth, but the problem was the social safety net was not enough. I mean, the fruits of growth was distributed unevenly. So, majority of people, they did not benefit from the economic growth because it did not trickle down to the majority of people. So in this case, I think this was the reason behind, say, increasing poverty in Egypt during the last 10 years of Mubarak regime. That's why it was a major reason why people, say, start to go out in the street on January 25th, and in order to make the changes necessary to Egypt.
Allow me to ask you as well, Doctor, do you think that one of the reasons, as an economic analyst, on why any economy in any country might be easily collapsing or on the verge of collapsing, is the missing middle class society? That very important category in any society is not even there anymore here in Egypt. I mean, you have the elites, the very rich, and then the majority, excuse me, of the very poor.
Yes, of course. In economics, in political science and economics, the backbone of any economy is the middle class. So they are the major source of saving to the economy, and saving are very important for investment. So the vitamin for any economy is to invest more, so as to make the economic body grow faster. And if we have, say, higher economic growth, then once we have, say, we are distributing the fruits of growth among the majority of the people, then their standard of living will increase. So this will, say, make, say, people happy about how to manage the economy. But since we mismanaged the Egyptian economy for the last 60 years, starting from the 50s till now, it's almost 60 years. So we started, say, to have like economic experiments. We tried socialism, and say didn't help the Egyptians. Therefore, we tried, say, the open door policy. They assassinated the President Sadat at that time. So then they started, say, having another experiment, by having, say, capitalism,
yes,
and those capitalism with corruption, and they were, say, preparing the Egyptian to have, say, to have the son of the President Mubarak, yes, to be inheriting power and to be the next leader. So while the people, they are suffering from the mismanagement of the economy, then came the Brotherhood, and they tried to enforce, say, the religion in everywhere, yes, in economics and politics and so forth. So that's enough for the Egyptian, say those experimental, regimes, that's enough. Period, and we start from, say a new era.
Yes.
A new era in this case is to soundly manage the economy. I think in this case, we have to give, say the private initiative. Private initiative, that means you open the door for small, medium-size, and
Yes.
micro-size enterprise in this case. This is the hope of Egypt, and to lay the foundation for the Egyptian youth. And they have the talent and the entrepreneurship talent, and those to lead, say in the coming period. So we hope, we are putting more hopes on our Egyptian youth in order to say to lead the economy. I mean, by helping them to invest more, by helping them to have their small size and medium size enterprise, and together with micro size enterprise. So therefore, say the World Bank financed Egypt and lent Egypt almost $300 million for SMEs, a small and medium size enterprise, for the Egyptian to start their small size business. Also, Khalifa Fund, provided Egypt with $200 million for this
Yes.
same purpose.
I mean,
I think we have enough fund for, say, to start,
but I mean, these funds that we're taking from different entities, are they really enough to sort of provide this opportunity for the vast number of youth who want to go for small and medium-sized enterprises? Because there are a lot of barriers and obstacles being faced here, not just on the economic level, but priority on the political level, possibly bureaucracy and corruption that plays a role in everything, or in any field when you want to talk about Egypt. And that's very unfortunate because, not everybody has the capability of being provided with funds or finances to start a business, and if they do, they face other obstacles. What can be done to secure this young youth or this young generation who want to indeed have their own small businesses and watch them grow over time?
Well, you took the word out of my mouth, because in this case, of course, bureaucracy is one of the major difficulty for investment in Egypt, and our youth in particular, to start their small and medium-sized enterprise. Corruption considered, another obstacles. So what we need is to have to minimize those bureaucratic, government, localities, and so forth. So we hope, that the new law of civil servant law to improve the situation and make our government, less bureaucratic and less corrupted. And this will take, some time in order to minimize those obstacles and so forth. I think, our hope is to give more opportunity for our youth to have those small size enterprise and medium size, taking into consideration that those multinational corporations and cross-border companies, well known for everyone,
Yes.
they started with a small size enterprise. Take, for example, Microsoft, take for Intel, take, for example, too many of those
Yes.
companies, they started,
Before they went multinational.
they started
Yes.
before being a mega size company into a cross-border company or multinational company. So I think we have to also to have to improve our investment environment. So improving investment environment by giving more, incentives.
Allow me to interrupt you here, Doctor, but when we speak of the government, we do understand the burden that's on the government. It's been subsidizing many essential products for Egyptians for a very long time, even during its critical economic crisis. We do find some little tiny lifts of the subsidies time that seems to be very economically well studied, whether it's on fuel products or even on some goods. But until when will the government sort of be able to cope with these subsidies without collapsing entirely in this very critical periods? Especially here in Egypt, you do know, or anywhere in the world, when prices increase, people start to get tensed. Even if it's on a single product, they do know that it's going to go into around this entire circle. And then everything else along with that increase would increase. How do you see, or how do you sort of analyze the government's performance in terms of subsidies?
With respect to the subsidy issue, I think the government, did a very good job, especially in the area of basic food subsidies. And the Minister of Supply, he used very, productive, solution for that by applying the smart card for, the majority of the Egyptian. So as those they have the smart card, they can benefit from a subsidy for basic foods and also the, subsidized bread. So in this case, this subsidy, foodstuff subsidy is going well. However, they have to do more on this area by reducing and rationalize the number of beneficiary of this because it covers almost 62 million of the Egyptians. This is almost 2/3 of the Egyptians they benefit. So they have to do a little bit about it. But anyway, it's now we are targeting those beneficiary people. With respect to the fuel product, subsidy, currently the government, they are preparing, the smart card for this, subsidy issue. I think, within the coming, few months, the government will start, applying, the smart card in this, to rationalize the subsidy of fuel product. So this will help, the Egyptian government reduce the budget deficit, reducing the budget deficits more than before. And this is a very very important, aspect of, the fiscal policy adopted by the Minister of Finance. So to reduce the budget deficit, this will enable, the private sector to get more attention from the government and from our banking system. The main job of the banking system in any country is to give credit and to finance the private sector, not the government budget deficit. So when government reduces the budget deficit, this will make, our banking system have more money to lend and to finance our private sector, including, small size and medium size enterprise.
Yes.
So this is very important and very critical, issue for, any economic reform program.
Exactly.
What we need, but this is one point of the whole, economic performance. What we need for the future, is to implement a comprehensive economic reform program, including three major components. Number one is to address, the financial imbalances in our budget deficit, to reduce, the budget deficit more than before. In addition, to reduce the deficit in our trade balance, together with, reducing liquidity in our economic veins, our economic body, so as to reduce the pressure on prices and reduce inflation rate.
Yes, exactly.
This is one component. The other component is to address the structural problem of our economy. So we have too many, structural distortion in our economic body. So give you an example, like the public business sector, that's its performance is beyond, below what, what we expecting from the public business sector. well, the return from, say 151 public companies, it's very, very low rate of return, 2% on the total assets of those companies. That's too little for, say the public business sector. In addition to this, we have the tax system needs to be more progressive tax system.
And active as well.
Yes, of course. We have also the labor market, and we have to address the problem in our labor market and product market. So we have to increase the degree of competitiveness of our say economy, so as to say to make prices less in the domestic economy, and also to be more competitive with other, say our exports should be more competitive.
I want to also speak with you about how you see the Egyptian pound's value in front of the foreign currency, particularly the US dollar. Many analysts believe that this is now reaching its highest ever level. I'm talking about the Egyptian pound in front of the Egyptian dollar. And many analysts believe, well, again, the central bank is supporting or backing very much the control of a further increase. And some believe that the actual value of the Egyptian pound in front of the dollar should be to 12, not just to 7.60 or whatever the current status is. How far do you agree with that? And what if it does reach beyond 10 pounds? What's going to happen to the Egyptian economy?
Let us, say, say, imagine, say the 10 Egyptian pounds.
You don't want to think about
it. Yes, it will damage the economy, and
but it is gradually increasing.
It
it's almost 8.
Damage the whole economy and make the poor suffers more and get poorer. So what the new governor is doing, say, is to address, say, the problem of foreign exchange scarcity. So we have a scarcity in the dollar supply in Egypt right now, especially after, say, the sad event of, say, the Russian airplane crash. So tourism, say, is suffering now a little bit, but hope it will, say, it will improve, say, within the coming few months after, say, we are doing, say, the Minister of Tourism is doing a lot of, say, effort in order to improve the current situation. So after, say, tourism recovers, in addition, say, once we have the current government, say, present the new economic reform program to the parliament, to the new parliament, I mean the House of Representatives. So then the House of, after the House of Representatives, so look into this economic reform program of the current government. Once he approved, say, after discussing it and make the amendment in this government, say, then they will, once they approve it, what will happen after that? This will, say, give more, say, room for FDI, foreign direct investment to Egypt. So once we have recovery on tourism, foreign direct investment, in addition, our export will, say, show some, say, improvement.
Yeah, so we could witness a downfall in so it can go. So would we going back down to 5 point something or even 6 pounds as it was a couple of years ago?
That needs a lot of time.
It needs a lot of time.
Yeah,
my final question to you, Dr. Elfi, is Egypt during the past year or so has succeeded in establishing a number of mega economic projects, whether it's the inauguration of the New Suez Canal or the economic conference that took place last year. But these are long-term economic reform. I would like to know, first of all, if we're talking about long-term, how long are we talking about here before we witness the achievements or reach the aims or the goals of these mega projects? And second of all, during this time until this long-term plan works, what should be done for the normal individual Egyptian citizen to feel that there is a development in his living conditions?
Those mega projects is very necessary for any economy. In the last, 10 years, what we need is to rebuild the Egyptian economy, to have more infrastructure. So those, like Suez Canal, considered as a basic mega project for the Egyptian economy, so as to generate more